naman tayo para sa ating Nutrition and Health Webinar Series. Ngayon ay episode 19 at pag-uusapan natin ang cycling as a mode of commute in the new norm. This webinar series is brought to you as a community service by Farmacia Jimenez with today's sponsors, Headlight Cellular Nutrition, Taillight Antioxidant, and No Rush Anti-Rush Cream. Ako si Grace, your moderator for the rest of the hour. Nang mag-lockdown ng Pilipinas ng mid-March, natigil ang mga pampublikong sasakyan kung kaya't maraming healthcare workers at mga natitirang nagtatrabaho ang napilitang maglakad at magbisikleta. May mga shuttle buses at private vehicles ang mga nagmagandang loob para magsakay pero hindi naging sapat ito para tugunan ang pangangailangan sa public transport. Alam natin na sa mga panahon ng krisis o pandemya gaya ngayon, marami ring magagandang bagay na nangyayari. The worst of times can bring out the best in us. This afternoon, pag-uusapan natin ang isang magandang bagay na nangyari ngayong may pandemic. Ang pagbibisikleta or cycling as a mode of transport, its benefits to our health and to our environment at ang mga importanteng dapat malaman para magkaroon ng safe and injury-free bike ride whenever we're on the road. Hashtag no rush, no worries, just ride. Nag-invite tayo ng subject matter experts na magpapaliwanag sa atin ng topic na to. Our first SME is a sports science graduate from the College of Human Kinetics University of the Philippines in Diliman. He's a member of the National Triathlon Team in 2004 and member of the National Team Philippine Dragon Boat. He is a swim coach, a triathlete, and a race director, a bike commuter for more than 10 years. Well, noon, magandang hapon. Welcome, Coach Andrew Limhoco. Hi, Coach.
Hi, Grace. Good afternoon.
Alright. Thank you, Coach Andrew. Ang next naman nating another subject matter expert para sa hapong ito ay isa ring cycling enthusiast who is also a graduate of UP Diliman Industrial Design. Siya ay dating pro mountain biker at downhill biker and is also a bike commuter. Dahil designing of bikes is pagdating sa different types and bike designs. The sales director of Nanotech Trading / Bikezilla. We're blessed to have him also this afternoon. Welcome, Mr. Ado De Leon.
So, good afternoon.
Hello, Mr. Ado.
Good afternoon po. And good afternoon din sa lahat ng nagpa-follow, nanonood ngayon, makikinig sa atin.
Thank you, Mr. Ado. Thank you, Coach. Balik ako sa inyo later dahil napapanood tayo via Facebook Live ngayong hapon na to sa ating mga FB Live viewers. We welcome your comments, suggestions, and questions na sasagutin ng ating subject matter experts. Maaari din kayong mag-suggest ng topics na gusto nyong pag-usapan sa mga susunod na episodes. At sa magtatanong, meron po kayong chance to win a special gift pack from Cell Life Cellular Nutrition, Cell Life AO, at No Rush Anti-Rush Cream. Sa mga nanonood po sa atin ngayon sa episode na to, please find time to give us your feedback. We would love to chat with you, and if you find this episode relevant, kindly share or forward it to your friends and families because sharing is caring. Okay, Coach Andrew, let's get started. Share mo naman sa amin as a bike commuter. Ano ba ang sagot sa tanong na to bike or not to bike to work? At paano ba magkakaroon ng safe and injury-free ride?
So, Grace, ang answer dyan is syempre, bike to work. So, isa sa reason why I chose the bike to work or cycling as mode of commute is compared to e-bikes, mas madali siyang i-maintain and less hassle in traffic So when commuting, no more
Mm-hmm.
waiting in long line.
All right. Yes po.
And most especially, Grace,
Mm-hmm.
um, while biking to work, you contribute in the campaign in the saving the environment, like the Clean Air Act.
Clean Air Act. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And definitely, ang next ano is exercise. Kasi if we
Oh,
use the e-bikes or the solar-powered bikes, um, you're just standing and then using the alternative energy. Unlike pag unlike pag nagbabike, we get to exercise, we get to strengthen our lungs, especially now, kailangan natin na mapalakas ang ating cardiovascular endurance against
mm-hmm.
this virus.
Okay.
So with consistent use of our bikes, long or short distance, we tend to decrease our visit to our doctors.
So coach, dito sa sa presentation mo din sa afternoon, I think mababanggit mo yung mga advantages, the pros and cons ng bike commuting. 'Di ba, coach?
Mhm. Yes, I think I mentioned the pros.
Yeah.
So the cons will be when it's raining, definitely mababasa ka. So don't make it a reason or don't be discouraged. Meron namang you can always get a waterproof bag to protect your belongings, right? And then another con is sometimes you tend to bring so much of your stuff, or you tend to over bring things in your bag.
Okay.
The advantage of this is it strengthens your upper body, and at the same time, it's like a workout for you. You have extra weight.
Yeah.
Another con, Grace, is you might get hit by
Next.
motorists. So
Uh-huh.
the protection there is always wear a helmet, and most of the time, unexpected accident happen when you usually rush or when, alam mo yun, yung nagmamadali ka
Mm-hmm.
because you're late. So always leave an allowance, spare time, just in case ma-flat ka or any unexpected technical incident sa bike. So always leave a spare time. Should leave early. So yung
Hello.
last is when you get flat tire,
Yeah.
make sure you bring your pump and spare tube, and also the tire lever. Yung lever yung pantanggal ng wheel. And syempre, make sure you practice at home fixing your flat tire.
Okay.
Yun. Okay.
So,
So what are the types of bikes for commuting? Types of bike.
yeah. Okay.
Merong road bike, merong yan, hybrid, the one with the flat handlebar. Hybrid simply because it's a cross between mountain bike and road bike. The specific size of the wheel is 700C, but the setup is like a mountain bike, straight bar. Yan. So next, yan,
Next.
fixed gear for the single speed bike. That's the one with no gears, but that's medyo hindi siya safe kasi some bikers who use fixed gear don't use brake. So mas less advisable to use fixed gear, and it's hard especially when there's a uphill. Okay, next,
Next slide.
mountain bike. Yan.
Mountain bike. MTB. Okay.
That is a very ideal for commuting kasi mas less for to get prone to flat, wider tires, and mas easier to use kasi wider yung tires. Next, please. folding bikes or foldable. Yan is sa mga convenient bikes to use because you can fold it when you get tired. You can ride the cab or ride the MRT. Okay, next. Ano po? Town bikes. Yan yung easily available. You can buy anywhere because it's really cheap. Available sa mga Japanese surplus. And very convenient to use. Complete na siya. Meron siyang fenders. Meron siyang headlight. Okay. Next is a road bike. Road bike is one of the lightest and fastest bikes to use. Kaya lang may disadvantage because of its very thin, yung manipis na gulong, medyo prone ka sa flat compared to mountain bike. Okay, next ano pa? Essential things to bring. Siyempre, number 1, bike helmet. Right? And the protection sa bike helmet is you have to wear a cycling cap underneath. Why? Para pag pinagpawisan ka, hindi tutulo yung pawis directly into your eye. So at the same time, it's hygiene na rin so that your helmet will not smell when you reach to your destination. Kasi napupunta lahat yung perspiration sa cycling cap. Another essential thing is face mask. Can you still hear me, Gray?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes, Coach.
Next.
Yes, Coach.
Next is definitely you have to use a waterproof bag. Tapos extra dry fit clothing, windbreaker, a thin windbreaker, make it light instead of the plastic raincoats or heavy thick parka jacket. And then the most important is you must have mini first aid kit. And then 2 water bottles, one with water and then yung preferred energy drink mo. You really need to bring water. Another thing to bring is don't forget to bring your cycling gloves, your shade protection for the UV sun, and you must have another shade, the one with the clear or amber lens for cycling if ever abutin ka ng gabi. And then the last is the bike horn or allowed help. Bike maintenance. Another thing is check your tires for cuts and cracks.
Okay.
Okay, check tire pressure and make sure it's properly inflated to the right pressure, which is indicated in the tire wall. So for every tire that you buy, there's always an indication of the proper pressure.
Okay.
Next thing to check is check your brakes and make sure it's properly working. Check for worn out brake shoe and if it's properly aligned to the rim of the wheel. Yung brake shoe is yun yung dumidikit sa rim. So make sure hindi siya baluktot or hindi siya tabingi. Kasi pag baluktot siya, may chances na kainin ng brake shoe yung tire and then magkakaroon ng crack and then the tire will wear off easily. Alright. And next is check the cables, the brake cables and shifter cable. And syempre, you have to check the shifters if it's properly working. Another thing to check is the cycling chain. You have to check and change it annually. So always lubricate rotating parts like chain, RD bearings, hub bearing, bottom bracket bearing. And you have to check also your handlebar, make sure it's turning fluently. Kailangan na sisikipan siya sa right torque. So next ano natin is the cycling etiquettes and handling skills while cycling in traffic. So in bike etiquettes and handling skills, especially while cycling in traffic, it is advisable not to use headphones. So definitely, cyclists also must obey all traffic rules and regulations. Kailangan maging alert tayo sa mga signals ng motorists in front of us. So we should also be aware of pedestrians, yung mga tumatawid na may dalang dog, especially yung mga naka-leash. And then look first before you turn. Never race with other cyclists during commute. Sometimes we tend to race with other cyclists. And if we do that, mas higher yung risk na ma-accident. Right? You should also be a defensive cyclist. Don't hesitate to use signals prior to turning. Whether you're turning left or turning right, if you're turning left, taas mo lang yung left hand mo or point to your left. If you're turning right, point to your right. Kasi yung motorist behind you will notice if you're going to turn. That's our signal. Nutrition, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is advisable to eat 1.5 hours before biking so that the body will absorb the proper nutrition of the food. Other than that, the food that we eat is not enough. Tama?
Tama. Agree.
So, we need to take supplements, especially Taillight, to maintain and give us other supplement na hindi natin nakukuha to sa ordinary food, sa ordinary saging na saba or suman. So we need other nutrients that the body needs to absorb, especially when we bike. So we need to take some additional supplement like Taillight. And now that you also have this grapeseed extract, that's another additional sa mga hindi natin na absorb na nutrient. Next, please.
Next slide, yeah.
Next slide is yan. When we bike, we often encounter the chafing or yung ano sa groin natin, friction sa groin. So pagdating natin sa destination, we can use this no rush product cream para when we go back to our home, hindi ganun kasakit yung ating groin part or groin area. Yes.
Okay.
Next slide. So here's our brother Gerard. Next natin is yung cycling hazards. Can you hear me, Grace?
Hazards, yeah.
Yes, cycling hazards na
Coach
dinidisregard
Andrew,
natin.
yes. Here,
Yes, dinidisregard ng mga cyclists most of the time. So yung using of cellphone while cycling or yung Bluetooth earphones, medyo yung focus mo sa biking is nahahati. Yes. Tapos yung cycling while intoxicated with alcohol. Disregard din yun. Some people drink and then they bike going home. Another hazard is cycling under medication, especially yung medication that cause drowsiness. Another hazard is overloading, especially yung bikes na may basket in front and at the rear, and then they tend to overload, which causes imbalance. And definitely, pag may imbalance sa bike, pwede kang sumemplang.
oh,
Right?
no overloading kahit sa bike, coach, ah.
Yes, no carrying of unnecessary gears. And may nakikita ako, napapansin ko, especially sa mga teenagers, yung showing off unnecessary stunts, especially in heavy traffic.
Okay.
That's it. Yun yung sa mga what we need to watch out sa cycling hazard. And then, yan, yung bicycle as mode of transportation is healthier and practical compared to using the e-bikes. So,
The e-bikes.
one of the, yes. And we must have the necessary tools and equipments and gears are must have. So, technology is indeed catching up with us, like the belt-driven solar-powered scooters and e-bikes, but it is up to us to choose the safest and healthiest, reliable mode of transportation. Ayan yung mga sample of bike commuting to work or to their destination. Si
That's
Brother Kiel.
yeah, coach. Yeah, that's right. Our very own Miss
Yes,
Bell. Coach.
Belinda,
Yeah.
sales of, yes,
Yeah. Pharmacy, yeah.
sales,
She's on.
sales
And
siya
of course, sa office. She's an office personnel, yes, coach.
she's also doing bike to work.
She started biking. Yeah. Nung magmula ng pandemic.
Next picture is
coach, that's
si,
right.
yeah, next picture is si Miss Jen,
Yan, si Jen.
territory manager.
Yan. In fact, coach, ini-encourage dito sa Pasig, yan, na ating mayor. Ang bike to work, coach.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, it is advisable
yes,
talaga to
go
use
ahead.
bike. Yes, Grace, it is advisable to use bike kasi every local government is providing cyclists a lane.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
putol-putol, at least, di ba?
Oh.
Motorists will be aware of the bikers. Kasi meron na talagang provided lanes
Vision.
for cyclists. Yeah.
That's right. So, dyan sa photos, coach, makikita mo, no? Yung nilagay ni Mayor Vico, an advocate of bike commuting.
Correct. They provide bike stands. And even, I know, even in Quezon City, sa bawat business establishment,
Meron
each
na rin.
establishment must provide a bike stand. So, merong iba hindi pa rin. And merong iba sa Quezon City, yung bike lane is being used as parking ng mga scooters, parking ng mga kotse. So, sana maging aware talaga sila na the lanes are provided for cyclists only. So,
Okay.
more on the campaign of the bike.
Yeah. This is you, Coach. In
Yes,
action.
yes, great.
We own
Yes,
Coach
sa
Andrew
mga
in
races,
action.
mga races with brother Tony and with
And
one of the
Team 7.
triathletes. Yes, yes.
For everyone's information, si Coach Andrew ang first coach ni Bossing sa triathlon, no, Coach Andrew? Kaya sabi nga natin, yung mga
Yes,
coaches na yan give so much motivation and inspiration to many athletes. Thank you, Coach Andrew, for pushing our boss na malayo na ang narating ngayon sa
Welcome.
triathlon.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Nag-umpisa siya kay
So, I
Coach
hope he will
Andrew.
still, yes, I hope Tony will still inspire and motivate other athletes na, kasi di ba nagkakaroon ng limits eh. Some athletes tend to set a limit to their capacity. Kay Tony, walang limit.
Yeah.
Palagi nang
There's
tinetest
no
yung
limit regardless
capacity.
of age. Yeah.
Correct.
That's right. Oo. Yung next slide natin, Coach. Yan, yung ating others, resource speaker. Si Mr. Ado, Coach, used to be a pro biker, mountain MTB, tama ba? Mr. Ado, later, he's gonna share. Yes, Coach.
Yes,
Coach
great.
Andrew.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yes, great.
Those are some photos. Yan, mga yan, pwede rin gamitin sa bike commuting. Or virtual rides para for recreation lang and physical fitness. Di ba, Coach Andrew?
Correct, Grace. Very ideal for virtual rides or bike trainers.
Yeah. So yung bike nila, if you own one, sabi nga, my other car is a bike. Di ba, Coach Andrew?
Correct.
Yes, Coach.
Definitely we should have
There
a
you
bike,
are.
each and every one.
Yeah. Anong sabi ni Coach Andrew? You have to push yourself.
Push yourself. Correct. Because no one is going to do it for you.
Well said, Coach Andrew. Yeah.
Thank you, Grace.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. That was very informative. I'm sure, kasi lalo na sa office namin, ina-encourage lahat na mag-bike. Dati running lang, ngayon nagle-level up to cycling. Lahat ng hanggang maaari, lahat pwede at marunong mag-bike, Coach. At maganda namang motivation na pinakita mo sa atin na very possible naman at pwede rin namang maging safe yung pagbibisikleta sa road, basta alam lang natin yung mga importanteng bagay na dapat tandaan natin bago tayo mag-bike sa labas or to work. Coach Andrew, salamat. Babalik tayo sa iyo in a while. We will have to hear from Mr. Ado, of course, another cycling enthusiast, at alam natin na as a store manager, director for sales ng Bikezilla, marami siyang pwedeng i-contribute dun sa mga nakikinig sa atin na interesadong magkaroon ng bike. Yes, Mr. Ado.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, Mr. Ado.
Yes. So, with regards to the topic, cycling as a mode of commute in the new norm, I'll share lang dun sa uh, sa Philippine setting ng mga nagbabike commute, tapos yung personal experience ko rin. So, kung ano yung mga pros and cons. So, benefits kasi ng bike commuting, well, it saves transportation cost. Imagine if if magsasasakyan ka and ang routine is point A to point B lang, wala namang ibang dadaanan. Kung magba-bike to work ka, malaki nagiging savings. Plus, especially dito sa Metro Manila prior or even now, it's starting to get traffic again. Malaki yung nasi-save sa travel time. So in terms of transportation cost, iba kasi yung gumastos ka sa isang bike unit if you decide to go bike to work. Siguro in few months time o in a year's time, mababawi mo na yung ginastos mo dun sa bike. Tapos plus, syempre, halos yun na yung naging savings mo. At the end of the year, yung na-save mo, ayun na, bisikleta na. Tapos, well, it saves travel time. Especially for me, I'm from Rizal and our shop is in Ortigas. Before, my travel time would take me, fastest is 1.5 hour. Tapos pinaka-worst, umabot ng 3 hours one way. That's 16 kilometers away lang. So, imagine yung uubos na oras for my family. Diba parang almost 4 hours nasa traffic lang ako. But when I did bike to work, ang nagiging travel time ko, yung 16 kilometers, would be around 45 minutes. So, by the time na makarating ako sa shop, kasi ayos lang, 36 na ride lang yon. So, malaki yung malaki rin yung nasisave ko na oras. Plus, syempre, benefits. Well, merong health benefits. Kasi every time na you're on a bike, you're on a saddle, basta nagsispin ka, there's a gain for your health. Tapos syempre, ang another benefit niyan is yung environmental impact. Imagine when we had nung mag-ECQ, there were really less cars and everybody saw naman na yung naging impact sa environment. Talagang yung from here dito sa Rizal, nakikita namin yung building sa Metro Manila. As in, before, makikita niyo na talagang sobrang itim ng usok. Pero nung nag-ECQ, as in na-clear yung mga yung skies and kitang-kita yung mga buildings from here. So imagine if maraming nagbabike to work, less cars. So malaki yung nagiging contribution sa impact ng environment. Now, syempre, there are cons din, di ba? Pagka nagbabike to work. Especially sa atin na we're living in a tropical country, mataas ang humidity. So, laging sinasabi, magbabike ako. Pagdating ko sa amin, sa office, pawis na. So, yun yung mga issues na pinaharap ng marami. Kaya yung iba, nag-hesitant sila mag-bike to work kasi because of yung ganun, pagpapawisan. Pero there are some ways na para ma-address yung ganun. Siyempre, having the right facilities. Halimbawa, in our shop, pagdating ko doon, wash ako. Tapos I have my set of clothes para pag-work ko, fresh na ulit ako. So, yun lang naman yung yung cons. Tapos syempre yung risk factor na syempre baka ma-aksidente since two wheels. Pero the way to address it is as long as you follow traffic rules, you wear your helmets, tapos pinipili natin yung mga daan, yung dadaanan natin. Ako normally, I plan ahead. Every time I go out of my house para pumasok, ipinaplat ko na kung saan ako dadaan. If even to the point na kailangan ko magbuko break, alam ko na kung saan ako titigil. So I plan ahead para in that way, yung waste na alam nyo na dito maraming truck dyan or dito kaunti lang yung sasakyan. So in that way, nakakatulong yon na ma-lessen yung chances, probability of any accidents. So another question is, kasi marami tayong nakikita e-scooters, e-bikes. Actually, these are form of another form of transportation. Yun nga lang, hindi ganun napakalaki ng impact dun sa if sa usapin ng health gain. Kasi syempre, yes, it can move you from one place to another. Pero kung sa panahon ngayon na hindi ka makapag-basketball, hindi ka makapag-contact sports, hindi naman pwedeng kada laro niyo ng basketball, magpapaswab kayo. So yung cycling yung isa sa maganda na since mag-isa ka lang, so going to work, magbabike ka, nagiging way of exercise na. So another factor kasi kung yung about sa mga e-scooters, I have nothing against dun sa mga gumagamit nun. Though as an industrial designer, e-scooters are not designed really for the road na kasama mo yung mga sasakyan. I believe there has to be a designated lane for this kind of yung mga gamit or like scooters. Isa rin sa nakita ko kasi is that normally when you're in an e-scooter, you're standing. Yes, you're upright, pero have you noticed na narrow yung handlebars nila and mataas? As a professional cyclist, as a professional racer, iba kasi pagka mataas ang center of gravity ng bisikleta. So less stable siya. So I've witnessed kasi yung ilang naka-e-scooters na nag-crash kasi once na mag-wobble yon, since narrow lang yung handlebar, hindi siya ganun kadali counter-steer. Don't get me wrong, in any bicycle naman, you can also involve in a bike crash. Pero yung chances, probability, mas maliit as compared sa mga e-scooters kasi bikes are more designed na ergonomically na mas stable siya, especially if you're using yung mga flat bars ng mga bikes. So for me personally, that's my take over bike tapos dun sa mga e-scooters. And another thing, siguro more on the info sa amin sa industry kasi we're in the bike industry. Some manufacturers, especially sa Europe, they do have yung mga e-bikes. These are yung mga pedal assist na mga bikes. Most likely in their place kasi yung government nila has already come up with the regulations pagdating dito. Pero sa atin kasi dito sa Philippines, wala pang clear na regulations pagdating sa mga e-scooters, e-bikes, and yung mga ganun mga electric. Another factor din kasi is that in terms of yung mga battery concerns, kasi right now batteries are considered as hazardous goods. So pagka ini-import siya, so masalimuot talaga pagka nagpapasok ng batteries. So yung siguro as of the moment, yung iba okay pa doon, pero pagka dumating yung time na there's a need for batteries, baka magka-problema sila. And then again, yung impact health sa health kasi hindi naman ganun napakalaki. Siguro mahahasa lang yung yung mata mo, magiging alisto, pero for cardio and yung ibang yung exercise for your ibang muscle groups mo, iba pa rin yung nakukuha sa cycling. There are types of bikes na ideal for commute. Well, these are my photos, mga race photos. These are from the sa Fireflies yan.
Sure.
Okay. Oh, that's my crash. Okay. So, on the screen, this is a typical commuter bike. It's designed for urban use. So, as you can see, compared dun sa mga bikes na pinakita na ginagamit ko, which are mga downhill bikes, ito, mas upright ang magiging position nyo. So, ergonomically, it's good para sa spine when you're seated upright, when you're cycling. Marami kasing individuals na ayaw nila mag-bike to work or ayaw nilang subukan yung cycling kasi inisip nila baka mahirap or may sumakit sa kanila. Pero I strongly believe as long as you're using the right bike for a specific purpose, I believe may enjoy ng marami yung pagbabike, bike to work or bike commute. So as an example, dito sa screen na to, it's a commuter bike na makita nyo upright yung position. Though it's highly ideal para less injury, is yung maiset yung yung saddle height. So there are ways to measure it. Kung iba doon, help of a friend or you can consult a bike fitter. Pero yun naman, hindi naman napaka-komplikado para hanapin yung saddle height. Now, another thing with yung mga ganitong bike, dito sa Pilipinas, okay to kung lalo na pagka nandito lang sa city. With the traffic, having these handlebars, yung flat bars, any flat bars. Tapos kung magta-travel lang kayo ng mga less than 10 kilometers or even 15 kilometers, okay yung flat bar. Why? Kasi mas stable siya, mas may pang counter steer siya pagka nasa traffic. Siguro kung nasa lugar tayo like sabihin natin somewhere in mga countryside, halimbawa sabihin nyo nasa Pililla or what, pwede yung mga yung naka-drop bar or yung mga road bike. So ideally for short distance na mga travel, any commuter bike na naka-flat bar, mas ideal siya. Pwede rin naman yung mga mountain bikes, pwede rin yun, especially kung rough yung terrain. Mas recommended yung ganun. Now question, kailan ba ginagamit yung mga naka-drop bar? There's a photo nung naka-drop bar. Sorry. Yan. So for this bike, if for example yung travel nyo would take siguro mga 20 kilometers, more than 20 kilometers. So it's nice to have these kinds of bike kasi Imagine kung 20 kilometers at 20 kilometers per hour. So, mga isang oras nyo babaykin. Pero kung nakaganitong bike kayo, if you want to cover a much shorter time, okay itong ganito. Yun nga lang, pagdating sa traffic, for me personally, iba pa rin ang naka-flat bar. Mas may pang-counter steer siya. As you saw yung mga pictures ko nung nagda-downhill ako, if I'll rate myself in terms of handling skills, I would say na excellent na ako diyan. Though syempre I have my shares of crash, yung mga accidents. Pero coming from this kind of sport na talagang kailangan precise yung calculated lahat ng gagawin mo, attempts mo sa jumps, still, meron pa rin yung error na pwedeng mangyari. Now, why am I sharing yung ganun? At my skill level, I remember when the first time I rode a bike na naka-drop bar, yung pinakita natin kanina. At first, hindi ko alam yung tamang hawak. So, basta bike lang ako. Then suddenly, nung merong small bump lang, muntik ako makabitaw. Sabi ko sa sarili ko, masisira career ko dito. Pero eventually, I was able to manage kung paano ba talaga hawakan ng safe yung mga naka-drop bar. Ang ano lang doon talaga is that yung margin of error na pwedeng magkamali, mas mataas kung dito kumpara sa naka-flat bars. So, ito kasi I would really recommend yung mga ganitong bikes if for long distance. So, realistically, any bikes naman can be used for bike commute. As we can see naman around Metro Manila, we see a lot of people riding their bikes, whether it's a mountain bike, folding bike, road bike, BMX. Any bikes can be used naman. Yun nga lang, syempre, there are advantages and disadvantages. So, if an individual naman can really afford to have a more specific na bike para dun sa gagawin nila, mas maganda yun. It will be way more convenient para sa kanila. Marami kasi ngayon nakikita ko, they bike to work, tapos they have their bags with them. So, ang ano lang doon, syempre, mainit sa likod. When I first started, pag nagbabike ako, mabilis ako pagpawisan. Especially na mainit dito sa atin, it's hard. So it's nice to have those mga panniers para you can easily organize yung mga gamit. So another thing na gusto ko pakita, I've prepared some things here na yung mga essentials pagka nagbabike to work. So one is yung mga repair kit. So maganda, you have your inner tube, your multi-tool. I even bring with a pump, tapos yung mga tire lever. I even bring with me yung mga straps. So, minsan kasi pagka biglang may pinabili, di pagbili ng, sabihin natin, litsun manok man yan, isa-strap ko lang doon sa pannier ko. So, okay na. So, now na nag-uulan din, it's nice to have an organized na mga bag or sabihin natin yung mga waterproof na wherein you can protect your cellphone, yung mga lagayan ng mga ganito. So, it's nice to have yung mga gamit na can protect us. Tapos, in terms of yung right etiquette sa pagbabike. For me, it's just we just really need to be we just really need to know the traffic rules. Let me share a story. I remember there was one time I was going home from Ortigas. Then there's an intersection sa may C5. I remember na stop kami. So, pero naiwan ako dun sa gitna nung flyover. So chine-check ko, sabi ko, makakatawid ba ako dito? Stop kami talaga, pero walang sasakyan. Hindi tama, pero I did cross the road. Then, after few seconds, alam ko, nakikita ko, walang sasakyan eh. Nag-cross ako, pero after few seconds, I hear a loud crash. Meron palang isang bike na mga typical na laborer. Inabot siya ng sasakyan. So sabi ko, I should have stick doon sa talagang principles na dapat, which is to follow yung mga traffic rules. Now, we can see some cyclists na they use the sidewalk. Admittedly, minsan dumadaan ako doon. Pagka talagang sobrang congested na, like kahit yung mga bike lanes napupunan ng mga motorcycle. Minsan dumadaan ako sa sidewalk kasi kung titingnan, mas protected ka doon. Pero, if there's a pedestrian, talagang mag-aantay ako kahit pa it will take me minutes bago ko padaanin nila. Kasi it's their right. So, it's just basic. Hindi natin kailangan maging basta magbe-bell tayo sa kanila na patatabihin. So, for me, it's not proper. Siyempre, nung bata ako, siyempre, I do some, like yung mga hindi dapat gawin, I do those mga stunts. Pero as I mature, siyempre, tapos siyempre, baka mami may makakita sa akin, diba naman yun, talong pa dyan sa bangketa. Kasi before, nagpapasaway kami. Baba kami sa hagdanan, overpass, hulihin, pahabol kami sa security guard, which is, well, it's yung pagiging bata that time. Pero going to work, bike to work, hindi na dapat. Kasi syempre, if we share with the road with other motorists, pedestrians, and cyclists. So it's better to be proper pag nasa kalye. So, yun po, hope merong inputs na nabigay sa marami sa atin. Any questions, I can answer now.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Ado. Oo, meron tayong mga naka-line up na questions dito ngayon from our live viewers. Mamaya may itatanong tayo sa iyo, Mr. Ado. Pero unahin natin si Coach Andrew ang unang tinanong. Hi,
yes, Miss Grace.
Miss Angeline Balbayra. Sabi niya, high risk po ba talaga ang mga bikers na may heart disease ang mag-bike ng sobrang layo, Coach?
Usually, pag nire-recommend mo na sila before they do longer bikes to go see a physician. Papacheck mo na sila and then nandun pa rin yung progression na they need to start off sa short distance and then gradually building up. But first things first, they need to see a doctor. Lalo na yung may mga heart disease. But they can still.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So, yun ang sagot ni Coach Andrew kay Miss Angeline. See your doctor first before you ride. After that, ready your bike, tomorrow we ride. Diba, Coach Andrew?
You're right. Yes, and then start with progression.
Oo. Sige, Coach. Meron pa tayong tanong. Babalik tayo ulit sa'yo. So, Miss Angeline,
Sure.
see your doctor first bago ka mag-ride. But after that, ready your bike, tomorrow we'll ride. From Jude Garcia, sabi kay Mr. Ado to, are the bikes worth 6,500 to 8,000 good enough for daily use to work? Mr. Ado?
Actually, in all honesty, yung ganong bracket ng bikes. These are categorized as nasa low and entry level bikes. Actually, I would say high maintenance lang siya. Kasi, syempre, in terms of quality, hindi siya kasing quality ng ibang mga higher end models. But still, it can do its purpose naman, di ba? If ita-transport kayo from one place to another, magagamit siya. Yun nga lang, kung sa mga maselan, huwag kayo magseselan pag ganun ang bike. So sa mga maselan, pagka kumuha kayo ng ganung bike, huwag kayo magre-reklamo. So it's highly ideal yung if you'll ask me personally, not because I'm a salesperson, pero personally yung mga bikes na entry level na sabihin natin mga ibang mga branded, minsan mga under 20,000, 15, okay na yan eh. Mas less maintenance, I would say, kasi once na ma-set yun, wala bastang nasisira. Kasi pagka yung mga mas mura, minsan ilang gamit pa lang, meron nang babalik na ulit sa bike shop. So mas nagiging magastos. Pero then again, it can still serve its purpose naman.
It will still serve its purpose. Lalo na, kasi sa opisina, Mr. Ado, mga nakabike din na yung iba, nag-umpisa na sila. So, ang importante doon sa sinabi, Mr. Ado, basta importante, it will serve its purpose. Yung itatransport kayo from one place to another. Coach Andrew,
yes,
Coach Andrew, Mr. Dennis Michael Cruz, how far is too far to bike to work? Baka kasi pagdating sa workplace ng staff, laspag na, magsasuffer ang productivity nila. Salamat po.
As I've mentioned kanina, Grace, before you start biking, kung meron kang illness or other condition, you need to see a doctor first. Second, they will start riding for a short distance, and then as they go along, they will build up. So that's yun yung progression. Yung sinasabi ng how far, depende yun sa capacity niya to bike. So as long as meron siyang training beforehand, na nag-start siya sa progression training na short distance and then building up, doon siya magkakaroon ng strength to finish from point A to point B.
Okay. So, hindi right away, Coach? Pero kung mga 5 kilometers lang, kaya naman,
Pwede. Pag 5 kilometer hanggang 10, pwede.
10 kilometers, pwede naman, Coach?
Yes.
At siguro kung ini-encourage. Yes, Mr. Ado, you were saying.
Maybe I can add doon sa yung sinasabi yung pagkamadalas pa. Ako, I strongly believe pagka pinaspasan mo talaga at hindi ka sanay doon, malalaspan ka talaga sa destination mo. For me, bike is a simple machine. Okay, it's a simple machine na it helps you na may transport ka from one place to another. Now, ang na lang doon is that if i-cover mo yung distance sa mas mabilis na oras, so syempre mag-exert ka ng much effort, mag-speed ka. So doon ka malalaspan. Pero kung sabihin mo, tetics lang ang ride ko, makakarating ka doon sa destination mo. Yun nga lang, longer yung time mo. Just to share, I remember di ba, mentioning na from my place, pagka yung mga petics na ride, going to work, mga 45 minutes. Pero pagka pinaspasan ko at kukunin ko ng 38 minutes, pagdating sa shop, medyo may konting hingal ako. So sa akin yung ilang minutes na yon, so they can opt to not to rush, 'di ba? Take it relax. So give more time para pagdating nila doon, hindi sila laspag. Okay lang naman ang malaspag, wag lang basak.
Kung if I may add to what Coach Andrew said at saka ni Mr. Ado, sa akin hashtag no rush, no worry. So,
No rush.
tapos Mr. Dennis,
Correct.
salamat sa katanungan mo pero sasagutin din kita. Nasagot ka ni Coach Andrew at ni Mr. Ado sa karagdagang sagot ko. Siguraduhin mo na naka-cell life, cellular nutrition,
Correct.
at saka naka-antioxidant at higit sa lahat, naka-Fermi rin siya ang iyong mga staff para siguradong faster recovery sila. Di ba po, Coach Andrew at Mr. Ado?
Correct.
Tamang bike,
Correct, Grace.
tamang nutrition din ay importante sa mga nagbabike. Galing kay Miss Maria Faye Rodil Legaspi. Hello, Auntie Faye. How much is home stationary bike? I think kay Mr. Ado to. Mr. Ado.
Well, for stationary bikes, there are stationary bikes na nakikita natin sa mga malls. Parang they start at around 20 plus and it can go up to 100. Now, it's nice to have yung mga ganon as a form of fitness equipment tool. Pero doon sa amount, pwede na kasing option na you'll have yourself a bike unit plus a bike trainer. Ang mangyayari doon, it's gonna be dual na yung magiging gamit ng bisikleta. You can do it outdoors, tapos you can also use it indoors. Like sina Ma'am Grace and Sir Tony, they do indoor trainers. So depende if yung mga if you think na you don't have plans of going out, okay din naman yung mga ganon. Yun nga lang, ang pinaka-base nila, they start around 20-25. Parang isang bike na rin.
So, mag-bike na lang, actual bikes na lang ang bilhin.
Actual bike, tapos bike trainer.
Bike trainer.
Kasi pagpalagay nyo na yung bike o yung makukuha nila na indoor cycling na pagpalagay nyo na 30,000, I think isang 10,000 na bike trainer tapos 20,000 bike. Dual purpose na, dual function na yung bike.
Okay. So, ayun, Miss Faye, dalawa ang bibilin ni Attorney Joanne kung sakaling bibili siya isang bike trainer at saka isang bike. Okay, from Mr. RCA, Coach Andrew, what can the local government do to support the fast-growing bike community?
Like na-mention ko kanina, local governments must coordinate with each other para magkaroon ng links of bike lanes to each other and maging stricter sa enforcement of matigdagan yung law enforcers na nagmo-monitor sa bike lane.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think yun, naumpisahan na ng maraming local government units like you mentioned. I mentioned Pasig local government has started it already.
Yes.
So, Quezon City. So,
But
Mr.
still,
Ano,
Grace,
yes.
putol-putol eh.
I'm sorry, Coach.
But still, Grace, yes, but still, putol-putol yung bike lanes, hindi consistent, and walang coordination.
Walang coordination.
They need to have, yes, na magli-link to each other
Okay.
para mas safe.
Mm-mm.
Kasi na-notice ko, when you need to go to one local government to another, sometimes you need to carry your bike sa flyover or sa what do you call that, overpass,
Kasi
to be able to cross.
walang continuity yung bike.
Walang, yes, walang connecting bike lane.
Walang connecting bike lane. Sige.
So, hassle yun.
Yeah. I think concerned din yan ng maraming nasa business owners kasi they are also advocates of bike commuting, coach. Siguro we will discuss that ulit some other time. Follow-up question
that
lang ni
will be
Mr.
a nice
Jude.
topic.
Yeah. Sure. Galing kay Mr. Jude, nag-follow up lang siya. He is 5'9". Ano daw dapat ang size ng kanyang bike? O how tall, big should your bike be if you're 5'9" in height? Newbie here, sabi niya. So si Mr. Jude, newbie daw siya. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall. Sino pwede sumagot? Newbie.
Pwede siyang yung top tube niya, pwede siyang mag 53 to 54 cm.
For the top tube.
Yon. Yes. So baka may additional fee ano.
Yes, Mr. Ado.
Dalawa yan, depende. If 5'9" tapos mountain bike ang kukunin niya, it has to be at the least size 18. So meron kasing manufacturers na they do even sizes. So 16, 18, 20. So yun yung small, medium, large. Meron namang iba, they do odd number which is 15, 17, 19. For a 5'9", pwede kasi sa medium yon which is 17 or 18. Pero normally, depende sa manufacturer na kung
okay.
maganda yung ano nila. So, yun, kung sa mountain bike, gano'n. Now, on a road bike, normally 5'9", around size 54.
Okay.
53, pwede.
I'm sure si Mr. Jude will find time to see Mr. Ado sa Bike Sila kasi magkapit-bahay lang kayo. I think Mr. Jude is staying in San Antonio. So si Bike Sila is just few meters away. So pwede mong bisitahin si Mr. Ado sa Bike Sila, Mr. Jude. Thank you, Mr. Ado. Kay Coach Andrew, baka magalit sa akin yung boss ko. Ang tanong, how short is short distance for bike commuting? Tanong ni Mr. TJ Jimenez. Coach Andrew.
Short distance, like when you need to buy things, 5 kilometers or less. That's the shortest.
5 kilometers or less.
Or less.
Yeah.
That's the shortest.
So,
It's like doing short errands.
like doing short errands. Yes, Mr. Ado.
Correct.
For me, short distance, any 15-minute ride, that's short. Kasi kung mga 15-minute ride lang yan, most likely mga 3 kilometers. That's short. Under 5 kilometers.
Oo, nakakatuwa tong kwentuhan na to ha. Si Coach Andrew distance ng kanyang measurement. Si Mr. Ado dahil MTB Pro Rider, minutes, oras ang measurement time. Oo. So nakakatuwa rin.
Correct.
Isa na lang, humabol si Mr. Arnold, si Engineer Arnold Evangelista. Hi, Coach Andrew. Coach Andrew.
Hi.
Coach Ado, anong recommended bike locks nyo? Kasi napakaraming bike nito ni Engineer Arnold Evangelista. Coach Andrew.
Merong naglabas ang specific brand but it's imported. I forgot the brand. Pero usually one of the effective bikes is the one with the U shape, the straight bar. The U-lock, yun. Kryptonite brand is okay. Meron ba nun dito, Ado? Meron kayo sa bike shop?
Actually, we carry we carry a different brand.
Kryptonite.
Pero sa ganyan, depende kung saan itatali. So, if
Mhm.
yung bike, for example, ilalak sa isang outdoor na lugar, maganda U-lock.
Mhm.
Kasi hindi
U-lock.
basta malalagaring bakal yun. So pagka yung mga
Yes,
yung mga naka-chain lang or yung mga typical na yung ibang lock, hindi
Cable.
kasi ma-bolt cutter yun. Oo.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yun, ideal lang yun, yung mga ibang mga bike locks, yung may ginagamitan ng mga combination. Kung mga bawa sa loob ng bahay or sabihin natin, sandali nyo lang iiwan,
Short errand.
okay yung ganun. Oo. Pero kung halimbawa, like, for example, in some places na maraming, siyempre, hindi natin masabi, nakaka-interest, iba pa rin pagka naka-ULAP. The only disadvantage lang, siyempre, medyo may kabigatan yung
Exactly.
lock. Pero it's a deterrent. Kung saka pag nakita na magnanakaw yun, mawawalan na ng ganang nakawin.
Back out. Magba-back out siya. Correct.
I'm sure. Tapos nag-follow up ulit si Arnold, si bro. Coach, do you suggest to wear bracelet with emergency contact details, especially for bike commuters?
Yes. Yes. Yes, it's highly recommended na with complete emergency contact numbers and blood type.
And
You need
blood
to
type for
specify your blood type. Yeah.
Okay. So ayun, Engineer Arnold, I'm sure meron
Good
ka na
idea,
yan.
engineer.
Nagtanong ka lang. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Coach Andrew. Yes. Yes, Mr. Ado.
Yes, great.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You were saying, Mr. Ado.
Yeah, isang way din kasi is to inform yung bawa relative mo sa bahay when you're leaving, kung saan ka pupunta. It's nice na alam nila yung ruta mo. So anong oras ka expected na makakarating doon, maganda na ini-inform din sila.
Correct.
Given kung wala kayo ng mga ganong mga details. Tapos meron na rin mga available sa market na yung nagtatransmit ng signal. If there's any accident, may magno-notify dun sa relative. So
Yeah.
meron na rin mga ganong mga gadgets.
Yeah. Of course, branded nga lang Mr. Ado. Pero available siya sa bike sila. So ayan, actually bitin tayo for this afternoon's discussion. Marami pa tayong gustong tanungin, kaya lang sumobra tayo sa 1 hour, but I'm sure magkakaroon to ng part 2 with Coach Andrew and Mr. Ado. Salamat for your time. It has been a very interesting topic for this afternoon. Yung mga susunod na katanungan at ang mga interesado pang makausap ang ating Coach Andrew at ating Coach Ado ang nakalagay dito. Saan po ba namin kayo pwedeng makontak at mapuntahan? Coach Andrew, thank you so much for your time. Ikaw muna, Coach Andrew. Salamat po sa iyong, I'm sure you're very busy. Balik school na ulit ngayon ng IS. Si Coach is also coaching IS, di ba, Coach?
Yes, at ISM, International School Manila.
International School. Yes, Coach. Salamat. Any last words that you'd like to leave to our viewers, Coach Andrew?
Yes, Grace, it was a pleasure giving info about cycling. So sana ma-convince pa natin more cyclists to use their bikes and to use cycling as a form of commute. Sana ma-motivate pa sila. So you're very welcome, Grace.
Yes. Thank you, Coach Andrew. Wala. I'm sure busy ka ngayon, Saturday, no? Sa mga coaches, usually ang weekend is a busy day, pero pinagbigyan mo kami. So, maraming salamat, Coach Andrew. You've been very supportive to us and to the whole team Cell Life. Salamat na sana maulit-ulit yung ganitong ating discussion, and more power to you, Coach Andrew. Salamat din kay Mr. Ado. Mr. Ado, our partner sa lahat ng aming bike requirements, bike maintenance, at sa lahat pang iba pang bike concerns. Mr. Ado.
Thank you very much sa pag-invite sa akin dito. I do appreciate yung pagbavalue sa amin na nakakapag-share kami ng inputs namin. And hopefully, yung mga nanood at nakinig, hopefully meron silang natutunan. And we're glad na merong ganito na at least we can share yung knowledge namin and we can share some information that can help and improve the lives of others. So, thank you.
Thank you. Well said, Mr. Ado. Well said, Coach Andrew. I'm sure na-appreciate lahat ng ating viewers ang mga bagong natutunan nila ngayong hapon na to sa ating mga ka-webinar. Maraming salamat po sa pagsama nyo sa amin sa higit na 1 oras ngayong hapon. Ang susunod na episode will be a special treat for everyone because our next resource person is not only a local celebrity, but she has received an international recognition for having earned the 4th runner-up title in the Miss Universe 2010 pageant. She will be sharing to us how to be beautiful inside and outside. Just visit and like our Facebook pages, Selef and Oranim, Settle and Settle Active, IC and No Rush, Neem Clean Alcohol and Hand Sanitizer, at PJC Organic Soap. Sa mga interesado, ang ating produkto ay pwedeng bisitahin sa website www.farmaciajimenez.com. You can buy also our products sa mga leading drugstores like South Star Drug, Generica Drugstores, the Generics Pharmacy, of course, sa Mercury Drug, at sa mga authorized provincial distributors nationwide. God willing, we will see you again via FB Live for another episode of Nutrition and Health webinar series. From our home to yours, blessed weekend po at magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Thank you!